If you're a viewer of this channel, you know that I've been buying SoFi fairly consistently throughout this year. In fact, I've been buying even heavier as the stock keeps falling. And yes, while I might dabble in buying other stocks in smaller quantities, there's only one other name that I'm buying in just as big of quantity as SoFi, tens of thousands of dollars worth of purchases. And in this video, I want to share some of my raw thoughts as to why I'm pouring this much money into this particular name, what that name is, and where I think this can go. Okay, so this video is going to be fairly off the cuff, not rehearsed, not scripted or anything. I just want to share some thoughts. I made a tweet about this 10 minutes ago talking about why I'm adding so heavily onto Tesla. And really, I wanted to hop on and elaborate some of my thoughts as to that rationale. I'm still adding SoFi fairly consistently, and I'm not going to be pausing that plan. I'm doing both things at once. I think it's an absolute no brainer to buy SoFi at these levels if you're willing to wait that out. There's a fairly severe detachment with regards to the stock and the underlying company, but we've talked about that in previous episodes. And with regards to Tesla, if you are a viewer of the channel, you know that it's by far my largest position. It's actually double my SoFi position in terms of how large it is in my portfolio. I invested in Tesla in 2019 and I accumulated more heavily and built out that position fully in 2020 and 2021. It ran up a whole bunch. I was averaging up all the way. And then the stock stagnated for about 3 years. I added some when it fell into the low $100 range, and then I only started adding again recently in early 2024. And there's a few reasons that I am still adding to this company. And more importantly, why I'm planning on adding going forward into the rest of this week and into next week. And the fact is, I haven't bought Tesla above $200 in quite a while. I actually paused my purchases in 2023 because the stock was above $200, and I only resumed my purchases back at the $160 range. And I saw this comment on my tweet literally like 10 minutes ago saying that adding after a 25% run in a few days when it's already a third of my portfolio is just wild. First of all, keep in mind that Tesla is a super long-term hold for me. So if I add at $220 or if I added at 200 or 180, realistically, it's going to make a marginal difference because I've been dollar cost averaging onto the stock for like 4 years, 5 years now. And so the reality is that this is going to move my price average by a couple of dollars at most. It's not going to be a massive thing for me. I think, however, on the flip side, there's a couple of reasons why now is an interesting time to be adding. Number one is the delivery numbers came in stronger than expected. So in Q2, the company produced approximately 411,000 vehicles and they delivered 444,000. So this actually beat expectations for what the street was expecting. And this is one of the main reasons I'm considering adding more because it causes a momentum shift in Tesla. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Delivery numbers are great, right? Because they forecast what we can expect onto earnings. And the stock price of Tesla, after having been in the company for about 5 years, is very momentum driven on the catalyst that we have upcoming, the tailwinds. And this is also a key reason for me buying at these elevated price levels when I wasn't doing that a couple weeks ago. It's because now we have new pieces of information that I think will drive the momentum of the stock upwards. Because not only did we get great delivery numbers, but we also got a really, really interesting piece of news in energy storage deployments. They're up a massive 132% quarter over quarter. And it really, I think, is going to make a more dynamic narrative for Tesla. Sawyer here tweets out the Megapack factory that they have right now is almost fully operational. And next year, of course, they have a new Megapack factory in Shanghai, and that's going to be starting production in Q1 or Q2 of 2025. So there's a catalyst there. And Tesla Energy, I think, is going to be a really interesting segment that's going to be explored by the market. And the reason is because the energy sector for Tesla has higher gross margins than the car business. The energy segment is about mid 20% range, while the automotive gross margins, while compressed this year, are around like mid teens. And so it is more profitable. It contributes to more of a narrative shift from Tesla being a pure auto company to being something much more dynamic. So that's definitely a tailwind with regards to the Megapack factory, and especially given the lead up that we've been seeing with energy storage deployments that we just got right now. The other interesting thing here is with regards to the August 8th event, which is expected to be this Robotaxi announcement. Mars put up a really interesting timeline of events here. In June, the Uber CEO sold 1 million shares. July 1st, yesterday, Elon followed the Uber founder. Remember, Travis here, the Uber founder, was ousted from Uber, was replaced by Dara, the current CEO. And he has no vested interest in the company. He actually sold off his shares. In August, 1 month later, Tesla is going to be unveiling their own Robotaxi product, which many people are hypothesizing, myself included, that it's going to disrupt Uber because it's going to be essentially this full self driving experience that's going to undercut the cost entirely. Now, of course, Tesla has also teased that with regards to the user experience on the app and how that might work. But really, it remains to be seen with regards to this announcement. And I subscribe to this comment here in the response of this tweet saying that Tesla is going to start doing something like Uber, but they're going to lease the cars cheaply to human drivers who will use and train full self driving, technically a robotaxi, but operating under human supervision. Basically, they're going to grow their fleet of FSD testers exponentially to collect more data and accelerate the transition to a full autonomy. And I think this is important because one of the major barriers here, one of the hindrances is regulation. This has to be approved across the entire nation, across multiple different countries, multiple different jurisdictions. You can't just roll out a fleet of self-driving cars willy-nilly without any approvals, right? So it's going to be a little bit difficult to get off the ground immediately, but the first step is of course that announcement, that intention of that plan, and the announcement of that Model 2 product, which is going to be the backbone of the Robotaxi. At least that's the entire thesis around it, and we're going to get confirmation of that thesis one way or another in the beginning of August. And this is a huge catalyst because this has the potential to totally reimagine Tesla's entire narrative, as opposed to the current narrative, which is really very deliveries driven. It's a car company, deliveries in, dollars out. And then you flip it on the other side, and bulls are really looking to the exponential needle movers, the thing that's going to switch the paradigm for Tesla entirely. And Kathy Wood's entire $2,000 price target is based exclusively on this robotaxi narrative. I don't necessarily subscribe to that wholly. I'm just saying that it has the potential to reimagine the narrative for Tesla. And I think finally, the overall theme of Elon being in this wartime CEO mode, he took his eye off the ball for quite a while, managing Twitter, making sure that the fires stopped burning there, and really focusing on Twitter entirely. And Tesla suffered as a result of it. Actually, the time he bought Twitter was the peak of Tesla stock. And since then, it fell dramatically and hasn't recovered. And over the past several months, we've seen that his interest is coming back to Tesla, especially driven by that shareholder vote that he just recently came out on top of. On the Bootleg Weekly podcast, we've talked about Elon being back in the wartime CEO mode and what that implication can have for Tesla. And the interesting piece here is his tweets. He tweeted twice today on the run up. We had a 20 to 25% move up in the past couple of days. And he tweeted number one, yes, but this is relatively small to vehicle autonomy and Optimus. And then he also tweeted again today saying once Tesla fully solves autonomy and has Optimus in volume production, which we don't expect for another couple of years, anyone still holding on to a short position will be obliterated, even Gates, who famously we know has a Tesla short position. And so I tweeted saying, look, I was around the last time that this happened. I was around the last time that he took people shorting Tesla personally, and it resulted in a massive breakout in the stock price action. And I think that this time is going to be much of the same because many of the tailwinds, what we're seeing, are now finally materializing for the company, especially if they break out of this 3-year technical pattern with catalysts ahead of that can fundamentally alter this business. I think that's a really great setup for Tesla because let's say they break out of the technical pattern and then you have the news immediately at the beginning of August in like 3 weeks to fundamentally, from a business perspective, support this complete narrative shift in terms of how they make money. Well, that's going to be a very powerful driver for the stock. And the fact is that, I don't talk about Tesla very often on this channel, but it's twice as large as my SoFi position. It's 33% of my portfolio. And I would argue that I know enough about the fundamentals of the company and my confidence in the company just as much as I do SoFi. And so, like I was saying before, I bought the stock in the low $100 range. I bought the stock again in the $160 range. And now for the first time in quite a while, actually, I'm buying the stock above the $200 range. And the entire reason is because of these tailwinds that Tesla has going into 2025. Again, I'm holding Tesla for a long time. I'm not going to be selling anytime soon. But I also do agree with Dan Ives and with others who say that Tesla is also massively underrated, even if you look at it from the lens of it being an AI play and just their software layer with full self-driving in general and the training models that they have. And so that's another lens that you can look at Tesla at that all contribute to this momentum upwards. But fundamentally, if we take the company aspect out of it, the stock price is very volatile. The stock is very momentum driven and it's prone to massive breakouts. I'm not saying that the stock is going to hit $300 within a week. I mean, we've already done 20 to 25% last week. But what I am saying is that it has massive catalysts ahead of it. And the delivery numbers came in strong. So that projects a strong quarter ahead. I think the momentum is going to start building up from a growth story perspective in terms of what investors can expect from Tesla. I'm personally expecting good things for the remainder of the year. And don't forget that with this particular stock, many people are seeing the 20% move upwards that they had over the past couple of days, and they have recency bias. They're saying, oh, wait a minute, why are you buying Tesla when it's already moved up so much? Well, because we've had confirmation of some of these news, and Tesla is still down year to date, right? The company is like down 8% or something. It's massively underperformed the rest of the Magnificent Seven, all of which are basically up year to date. Nvidia is crushing it. Google is crushing it. And even Apple, which was the laggard of the group, has moved upwards and actually just broke new all-time highs. And Tesla is the only one there that's really still down year to date. And so I think that this growth that we're seeing over the past couple of days, I think this is just skimming the surface in a much longer move upwards. And so this is a super long-term hold for me. And I take a little bit of solace in that even if we have volatility and choppy movement in the short term, I don't really care. I've been holding the stock for 5 years. I'm going to be holding it for much longer than that. But I do think that the momentum is turning. The tides are turning from just a perception point of view. And I really want to be able to capitalize on that because I do see the stock going higher in the next several years. You're going to have new Optimus announcements. You're going to have more energy deployments. That's going to be looked at more scrupulously from Wall Street's perspective. You're going to have the Robotaxi announcements. You're going to have the AI with regards to their software layer of their business. There's so many catalysts to look out for Tesla. Anyways, now I'm rambling. This is what happens when I don't script a video. I hope you enjoyed it. And, like I said, I don't talk about Tesla very often, but it is a huge position of mine. So if you do enjoy these videos and you want me to elaborate further on Tesla specifically on this channel, let me know in the comments and I'll make more videos about Tesla because I really do enjoy talking about that stock specifically. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know. And thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.